I tell people all the time, and this is something I think is a good piece of advice, people need to recognize that there is the business of what you do, and then there's the business of running your business. From the very beginning, I knew I didn't know much about restaurants. I know I didn't know much about breweries, but I did have the background to, especially from my Army experience, put together a team that had a synergetic ability and the ability to accomplish great things. And so I've always seen myself as I'm the guy that deals with the business of our business. And then what I try to do is hire the very best people to handle the business of what we do, which is obviously serving our customers and great food and great beer and great service and all of that. So it is interesting because my role has always been a little more back of the house, but in the beginning, for obvious reasons, I was also the front of the house guy too. But that's just a lot. I mean, people need to realize when they start a restaurant, man, that's the toughest and hardest time when you're having to split your time between, being the front of the house guy and running the books, or being the chef and running the books, or whatever. That's tough because let me tell you, the business of your business, if you don't handle that well, that can kill you just as fast as if you don't handle the business of what you do, which is being a restaurateur. My primary efforts right now are involved with starting North Carolina's first from-scratch micro distillery. So that's my primary job, but I would say that I dedicate at least 3 to 4 hours a day to just communicating with my managers here, making sure that I'm providing them all the tools and resources necessary to deal with whatever comes up here. And then also anybody that communicates with the restaurant through our website, that communication comes to me, so I can kind of keep my pulse in terms of what's going on, if there's complaints or whatever. And I typically try to answer all complaints and then hopefully all praise individually. So anyways, it's a lot of time and effort, and it's kind of just making sure that the resources that my folks need to do well here are met, and then making sure that all the back of the house functions, everything from, we do payroll in-house, all of that stuff's being done. And quite frankly, we're a $7 million a year business with 120 employees. It's a complicated thing. One of the things I feel very passionate about is independent restaurants are in fact the repository of culture for a community. I mean, people don't think about it that way, but I think that if you ask anybody about what they like about where they live, like what makes where they live special, at some point in that conversation, there's going to be discussion about restaurants or a bar or something, because it is where culture in a community actually happens. And so, if we remove all of the independent restaurants and put in chain restaurants, and ironically, by the way, I've developed a lot of respect for chain restaurants as a restaurateur. It's amazing what they do, but the problem is that it's not unique. It doesn't necessarily reflect the culture of the town, and I don't look at myself as being in the restaurant business. I look at myself as being in the Chapel Hill business, and that's what really kind of turns me on, and I think that's what makes me get up and do it again each day, because we're the front porch of the town.